Time for Media Watch now with Emma James, who's here in the studio. Hi there, Emma.
Hi there.
And you've started by looking at some of the tributes that have been paid online to the victims of yesterday's attack.
Yes, because of course when these kind of things happen, people can quite often become obsessed with who did it and why, rather than who suffered the ultimate consequences. Now, the man has been identified as 37-year-old Xavier Jugelet, 2 years younger than his killer. So you might imagine that in another life they possibly could have been friends. Many images of him being shared online and in media on across the world, really, because he is certainly captured a lot of attention. This picture shows the tributes that are being left outside 102 on the Champs-Élysées, which is exactly where it happened. The New York Times explains a little bit about why this man has really captured hearts right now. He was a staunch defender of gay rights, a gay man himself in a civil partnership. He also helped migrants in Greece, and he's described as a straightforward man who loved his job. Now, Le Figaro are paying tribute to him and his bravery. And the reason that they talk in particular about his bravery is that not only did he suffer in that terrible attack yesterday, but he was called to the Bataclan on the 13th of November 2015. He was there in his official capacity to help with the aftermath of that. And he was also present when the venue reopened. And what he had to say then really is quite inspiring, I think it's fair to say. He said, "It's necessary to defend people's rights. We are here to celebrate life and to say no to terrorists."
Some very fitting tributes there, but as well as the tributes, there's accusations that have been flying around against some of the presidential candidates, accusations that saying that they are using this attack to make presidential or to make campaign gains, essentially.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not entirely surprising because, of course, politicians are going to try to use public events to their own ends. But there are some fairly strong accusations coming from the Prime Minister, Bernard Cazeneuve, who has made them principally against both François Fillon and Marine Le Pen. And he says they have chosen the route of exaggeration and division in the wake of the attack on Thursday night. Marine Le Pen in particular, he says, is shamelessly exploiting fear and emotion for purely political ends. Now, François Fillon tweeted this today: the fight against Islamic totalitarianism must be the absolute priority of the next French president, which sounds fairly it's nothing really that people have too much of a problem with. But he went on to say, "We are at war. There is no alternative. It's us or them." And it's that us or them rhetoric that really is reinforcing the divisions that already exist in French society and that a lot of people aren't very happy about that he's talking about that. Marine Le Pen, on the other hand, says that France has to stop being naive and reinstate border checks. Just one of many things that she tweeted about this morning, or at least somebody did for her campaign, because there was a whole slew of tweets, one after the other, all advocating different moves, all basically fundamentally in the wake of this attack. One of them talked about the fact that there needs to be new rules to restrict immigration, asylum, and people seeking French citizenship. It all needs to be made much tougher. And she also tweeted this one: "I demand the immediate expulsion of foreigners who are on the terror watch list, Fichier S, it's called over here." And that is something that made a few people scratch their heads because, of course, the man who carried out this attack on the Champs-Élysées was French. He was born in Seine-Saint-Denis, the same area as the Stade de France, where the national French and rugby games are played out. So he was very much a Frenchman, and he wasn't on the Fichier S list. He was flagged for various reasons. He'd been in prison, and there were concerns about him. But he wasn't on the terror watch list as such. So it does seem a strange thing to try to bring up, but clearly she's using it to very much push her agenda forward. Another one trying to push his agenda, Donald Trump tweeted today: "Another terrorist attack in Paris. The people of France will not take much more of this. Will have a big effect on the presidential election." And people are seeing that as tacit endorsement of Marine Le Pen.
Well, and speaking of endorsements and those elections just 2 days away now, who, politically speaking, has the most to lose at this point?
Well, it's difficult to say because this whole election race has been so unpredictable, and it's possibly even more unpredictable now in the wake of that terror attack. The Economist's front page today, which of course was dreamed up before that happened on the Champs-Élysées, has a French cockerel saying "Zut alors," France's dangerous election, they refer to. But if we look elsewhere, it seems that Emmanuel Macron certainly is feeling the pressure. He says the choice that we have to make as a choice for the future: do not surrender to fear. Now, you could really translate that as "please don't desert me now," because, of course, people might, out of fear, go for a tougher candidate, a candidate who's seen to be tougher on security, on terrorism, immigration, etc., etc. And that, of course, would be Marine Le Pen or François Fillon. The blog in The Spectator says that Macron is undoubtedly the one with the most to lose. They describe him as supposedly brilliant and boyish, if slightly odd, and they believe that people are starting to realise that he is just François Hollande's mini-me. And, of course, François Hollande, so unpopular that he didn't even stand for a second term. It will be very interesting to see how this plays out. It is so hard to predict.
Absolutely, still all of it to play for. Emma James with a roundup of how the media has been covering last night's attack and the presidential campaign there.